Another question we get asked often is, I have a bunch of batteries sitting in my desk drawer that I don't know if I've ever used before. How do I ensure that I'm using brand new batteries in my communication device? Well, the only way you definitely can be 100% sure that the batteries are still good batteries is to buy and invest in a battery tester. If you're in a school and you have a lot of battery operated devices, or even if a parent at home with kids with battery operated devices, it's a small investment to make, and it really just makes life a lot easier so that you don't ever have to second guess when a device is not working properly. You can rule out the batteries being an issue right away on your own. So I have a little battery tester here which I'd like to show you. My personal preference is I like the little digital battery testers because they're more accurate than some of the other type of battery testers out there. You can pick these up at any electronic shop, like a Radio Shack or Home Depot or Lowe's. You basically would just turn this on to the DC voltage because we're dealing with batteries, so they're direct current. And I set mine for 20 volts, which is an easy scale to read. And like I was trying to explain earlier that these AA batteries, for example, are 1.5 volts when they're new, and they're actually, because they're alkaline, they're a little more powerful. They're actually a little bit stronger than that. So I'm just going to put, there's a black and a red. Black is negative. You put that on the bottom of the battery, and then the positive is on the top. And I'm going to try and show you here on the meter. If I can get this here. Show you on the meter what that looks like. It's 1.63. So this is a lot better than 1.5 volts. So that's how you tell. You can tell that that's definitely a brand new battery, and it'll be fine. So that's really the only way you can tell for sure how to test your batteries. I strongly recommend that you invest in a battery tester. It's definitely a worthwhile investment. Another question we get asked from time to time is, my school's closing for spring or summer break. Should I take the batteries out of my communication or adaptive toys during the break? I would recommend and say yes, because if a battery is left in a device for prolonged periods of times, sometimes the batteries can break down or they explode, where you have, not actually explode like a firecracker or something, but they leak out their battery acid, which when it first comes out, it's a brown, rusty color. It looks like rust. It's kind of pasty. And once it finally dries and oxidizes from the air, it turns to a crusty white powder. And I'm sure if any of you have used anything that takes batteries, at one point in time you've experienced this white crusty buildup inside your device. It is corrosive at some point, and if left for prolonged periods of time, it could damage the electronics, especially in the communication device. So it is a good idea as a safety precaution to remove the batteries from the device when you're looking at prolonged storage. I would say roughly a month or so. If it's less than that, that's fine. You don't need to remove them. But if they're going to be left for a few months, I would strongly recommend just to remove the batteries so you never have to worry about that. The next question. I was just trying to use my communication device and I noticed it wasn't working, so I went to change the batteries, and when I opened up the battery compartment, the inside was covered with this white powdery substance. What do I do to fix this or clean this? Now what that is battery acid, as we discussed earlier, that has leaked out of the batteries and then oxidized to that white powder. Now if it didn't leak into the machine, it should be easily rectified by cleaning the contacts off thoroughly, and you should be back in business with your device. Now what you would do there is, if you open up your battery case and you have your contacts here, if this is all covered in crust and white powder, what you can use to clean that is, if you actually have an old toothbrush, you can scrub that out pretty thoroughly, or maybe a Scotch-Brite pad, one of those non-metallic pots and pans cleaner. Even an old dry Brillo pad, as long as it's not wet. I prefer that you not use the Brillo pads, but just something that's dry. Clean that out, and if it's been sitting for a long time, it may even rust some of the contacts. So you want to clean it up so that there's no more rust. And then to prevent for any further oxidation, what you want to do is, if you have it handy, would be to rub on a paper towel or a little rag or a cloth some mineral oil, which you can buy at any supermarket or drugstore, and wipe down all the contacts. This will coat the contacts, protect them, and it's completely non-toxic, so that if anybody touches that and puts their hands in their mouth, it's a food grade oil and it's safe. So that will protect those contacts from further oxidizing or rusting. Another frequently asked question that we get asked a lot here is, my communication device doesn't work and I don't know what's wrong with it. Check your batteries. Check your batteries, check your batteries, check your batteries. And more than not, it's always battery related. I cannot stress this enough, that you check your batteries, especially in augmentative communication devices, which demand a lot from the batteries. If the device is playing messages where they're cutting off, or you cannot record new messages, or it's stuttering or making some odd sounds or acting erratically, first thing you always do is check your batteries. And the way you do that, as we mentioned earlier, invest in a battery tester, test your batteries and make sure the batteries are good. 9 times out of 10, that will rectify your problem. If not, you can always give us a call in our tech support line or via our website through our email, tech support email.